Hello everyone, it's Jin'taan here, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my perspective on another fleet fight that I FC'd. And this time I formed up in the south of the game in the region of Carnid, and as you can see by where it is on the map, it's pretty obvious where I'm going to be headed. Deep into Catch. And thanks to the Kabert's head GP gate, it's pretty easy to get to nullsec as well. You don't have to go through any low-sec systems where your interdictors and other fleet tackle like that wouldn't be at all effective. Now that's not to say travel here is uncontested though. We did end up skirmishing all the way towards our destination in GE TAC, but they were more engagements where I'd just run into a fleet that was smaller than me and they'd run away, and not much in terms of an actual fight would happen. Anyway, the main reason that I was intent on getting to GE TAC over any other system in Catch was just because GE TAC is a system where there is always someone trying to move through it or some level of action going on. You can see a graph here and it will show you that only in 2 hours out of 24 did no ships die in this system. Every other hour had some form of active PvP go down in just this one system. And part of the reason why it is so active is because it's the old staging system of Brave Newbies, which is a major alliance in Legacy and also just one of the biggest alliances in the game. Former does imply that it isn't their current staging system, and that is entirely true. I believe they stage much deeper in Legacy territory now. But in some respects it's still the spiritual home of Brave Newbies. It's like, going to their old house, as it were. And because of that, I've always found that when you go to this system, someone does come and fight you, and generally they try and bring something pretty fair to do it with. Oh, and about a week after this, I actually decided to join Brave Newbies myself, so technically this entire video is me shooting blues, just when I wasn't blue to them. So have fun with that. So with all that context laid out, let's jump forwards a little bit and fade in on the actual fight. As you can see here, I do have a carrier tackled, and I was under the impression, and you might hear some of my commands referring to this, that this guy was actually bait for the Legacy fleet. I later in fact found out that this guy was another NPSI FC, and he'd been looking to kind of come along and have a bit of fun and probably die in the process, so that was unfortunate, a bit of a miscommunication there, but hey, it got us a capital kill, so I'm not going to complain. And it also provides a pretty cool background by which I can start to introduce the fleets that were involved in this fight, starting with my own. I brought a slightly smaller fleet than usual just due to that being the turnout on the day, of 24 Gnosis, 5 Scythes, 1 Hyena, 1 Caracal, 1 Harpy, and myself flying the boosting Claymore. But this Gnosis fleet isn't the same kind of Gnosis fleet I've been flying previously, which is sort of a copy of the Hurricane. Instead, this is something completely unique and something you can only really flit on a Gnosis right now. And this fit was born from seeing just how well the Newts performed when I was running my Gnosis versus Munin fight a couple of weeks ago. One of the advantages of buying and then just handing out your fleet is that your fleet concepts don't actually have to be any good. You can just do stuff that seems interesting and see if it actually works in the current meta, and I used that to full advantage here. As you can see, we're still running a Shield MWD platform. However, the main difference is what we're putting in those high slots with heavy pulse lasers and a medium nuke along with a medium cap booster. And that means you have so much more ability to run all of your modules basically permanently. So you're going to be able to permanently pump out the disruption that nuke provides and then back it up with the high damage, high tracking platform that pulses are. And that also means that you get to retain the decent tank that the Gnosis has. It's just a tiny bit weaker than the Feroxes, but not by much. And the only other real downside that you have is in your speed, because you're still a pretty slow ship actually. You're actually slower than a Ferox, I believe. And that's why I took the precaution of bringing a Claymore myself and just guaranteeing that we'd have top quality boosts for the entire fight. Facing off against me in a much more conventional composition was the Glady, who brought to the field a slightly smaller fleet than my own, with 22 Feroxes, 3 Basilisks, and a lone Morale Drake. Then, as the fight continued, a bunch of destroyers just started randomly warping from the nearby Keepstar onto the fight, and Evictus also ended up committing a single Hor Naglfar in order to try and make up for the numbers difference. So a fair amount did end up being committed to the field. Anyway, one of the cool things that I've been able to arrange for this video in particular is a discussion with the FC of the opposing fleet. So Deglady is going to be here to actually talk through some of the most important actions that I felt he took during this fight, to give the other side of the story. So Deglady, you get intel of us engaging this carrier off the Ansablex. What's your game plan at this point? What are you trying to do, and how does that end up translating into how the engagement starts from your perspective?
So we landed around 60 kilometers from you, if I remember correctly, and we were shooting at thorium, I think, ammunition, and I wanted to get us closer for antimatter ammunition. That's around 30 kilometers, just to get full DPS out of row.
From my perspective though, what I'm looking to do here is very different. What I'm trying to do is secure the kill that I have, and then look to extract from the fight and maybe ping back down on top of these Feroxes, as engaging them from an extreme range puts me at a huge disadvantage. Stay on Gutty. We're just going to finish Gutty. We're going to finish Gutty and then we'll deal with the Feroxes.
Nagel 4.
Alright, where's the Nagel? Yeah, not Lodges, make sure you're MWDing on. We're gonna kill, heat 2 cycles of guns on Gertie. Heat 2 cycles of guns on Gertie. Take your DPS off of that Vexor now. Ignore that Vexor. Ignore that Vexor. Actually, probably ping off. We don't really want to fight on this grid right now. We just want to kill Gertie. Kill Gertie's pod, kill Gertie's pod. MWD's on, MWD's on, MWD's on. We're gonna pull out our bubbles, Actually, never mind. They're approaching us. Okay, we'll take this fight then. MWD's on, guys. MWD's on. MWD's on.
Dead.
Yeah, that'll happen. MWD's on. Primary. Can we get a web on Deglady from our hyena? I feel like I bring this up in every single one of my FC commentary videos, but again, it's always really important to first of all identify your enemy FC, and then identify how you're going to disrupt the enemy FC. In this case, by specifically assigning people to web them, so that now that they've gotten themselves in a bad positional situation, they can't get out of it very easily. When we get in range. Primary is going to be Buzzkiller though. Buzzkiller. MWD's on, anchor up. MWD's on, anchor up. Let's get in range.
And I've been podded.
Okay, die quietly, please. Load Scorch, by the way, guys, on the approach. Load Scorch on the approach. Load Scorch on the approach. We're just going to burn in as fast as we can. Lodges, you're going to need to keep up. Good job, good job. We're not going to shoot Deglady. Buzzkiller is primary. I'm going to rebroadcast him. Buzzkiller is primary. Should be...
in BD, please.
Good job, Logic.
Good job, good job, good job, good job. Right, now...
Nag on grid.
We're just going to try and ignore that nag. Good job. Secondary is going to be Mingo. Start spreading your newts. Start spreading your newts. Actually, put your newts on these basilisks. Put your newts on these basilisks. Mingo is primary. Secondary is going to be Negan. Can we get bubbles on this fleet? Now here you can see the real impact of what I think is one of the biggest mistakes my opponent made in this fight, which was anchoring their basilisks with the rest of their main fleet. This meant that when Deglady made this aggressive maneuver to try and start breaking through my tank, what he ended up doing was exposing his logistics to my newts, and because basilisks are reliant on a capacitor transfer chain to be able to continually repair the fleet it's a part of, I was able to turn off almost all of the active tank that his fleet had access to. Another cycle of MWD here. Negan is primary. Secondary will be Bison. Negan is primary. Get webs on him if you can. Good job. Oh, lovely bubble. Amazing bubble.
-1 Gnosis.
That's fine. We're fucking him up here. Bison is now primary. Secondary will be Depeche Mirage. Tertiary will be Ancient Sphinx. Logi, how are we doing? Can we get another bubble on them?
Monos holding, struggling.
No
Keep
worries.
your invulns if you're getting primary.
They whooped off. Okay, start killing this random shit. Start killing this random shit. It's fine. Oh, we caught a lot of them. We caught a lot of them. It's fine. Gavin will be primary. Rosa will be secondary. Yeah. Oh, we're just massacring them here, guys. Load reasonable ammo. Load the correct ammo types for the ranges. I can't really describe it at this point. Just follow the broadcasts. Just keep killing stuff. Keep getting bubbles on stuff. Point stuff if you can. MWD's on another cycle. MWD's on another cycle. We're going to pull back in towards these guys. Gavin is primary. Rosa is secondary. Gavin is primary. Rosa is secondary. Are they coming back in? What is going on here?
Kind of have to.
So, Deglady, what led to your decision to re-engage at this point in the fight?
So I wanted to warp on one of the wrecks that was on the grid about 50-60 kilometers from you, and hopefully we would engage you again, because we had railguns that's way longer range than you. But we got dragged by that bubble that I didn't expect that to us be dragged. And another problem what we had, we were pretty low on the capacitor, and effectively you get on top of us again and you bubbled, and it was a massacre.
Have to.
Okay. Ancient Sphinx is going to be secondary. Cancel on Rosa. Ancient Sphinx is secondary. MWD on another cycle. We're going to burn up to them. We're going to kill Ancient Sphinx. Kill Ancient Sphinx. Secondary will be Depeche Mirage.
Sphinx is webbed.
Good job. MWD's off once you reach me. Depeche Mirage is now primary. Spread newts as before.
Conflag.
Yup, you know.
Oh jeez, I have a hand.
Depeche webbed.
Okay, next is going to be Argini. After that, we're going to go for Skylar. Oh my god, this is a massacre.
Overheat traps.
He's webbed.
Don't burn out.
Yeah, don't burn your guns, guys. Just keep your DPS as normal. Keep spreading your newts as well. Keep recycling your newts. Corvus is going to be secondary. Cronus is going to be secondary. Tertiary is going to be Elcos. Keep getting bubbles on them if you can. Cronus is now primary. Secondary will be Viharo. Wow. Tertiary will be Demon Revenge. Yee-ha, boys.
Rosa, self locked up is like 10% shield if you want to finish that.
No, we're gonna just kill them. We're gonna kill the main fleet. We'll deal with them later. We just want to kill as much of the main fleet as we can. Oh, that's a sick bubble right in front of them. Nice. Unfortunately, what I wasn't remembering at that moment was the fact that we were fighting around a keep star, and the structure bombs that thing can throw out actually are able to destroy bubbles in space. And that fact actually cost us a lot of kills near the end of this fight, as it allowed the fleet to warp away. Guys, MWD's on. Get with Jin. I see people falling behind. Get with Jin. MWD's on. Catch up. Inject if you can. Alright, Viharo's... Yeah, they're starting to warp off. We got tackle on anything? Alright, just shoot what's on grid. And near us.
Viharo.
Oh, nice.
So cool.
New secondary is broadcast. We're going to move in that guy's direction. MWD's on another couple cycles, but conserve your cap. Don't inject at this point if you can. Scorch him. Good fights in local. MAV2 is secondary. After that, we're going to go for Callista. God damn. And that marks the end of this little engagement. I did hang around for just a little bit longer to see if they'd come back, but pretty soon my fleet let me know that they were out of capacitor boosters, and it was probably going to end badly if we went for another fight, so we all went back to high sec and stood down. This battle report isn't 100% accurate, as you can see by the fact that it shows 2 dreads that clearly weren't involved in the fight directly, but if you take the numbers added by a little later gate skirmish that was completely unrelated to us, what you end up with is 6 billion ISK killed to 500 million ISK lost, which is obviously a really great result for a fight. Especially given the fact that this was kind of an experimental doctrine and also a brawling doctrine, which is something that tends not to work particularly well in the modern meta. Anyway, so just as a reminder for people who might not be aware, if you want to come along to one of these fleets, you can do so. Just check out either the Spectre Fleet website or my own personal chat channel, which is JINPSI in-game. There you'll find details of what we're going to be using, when we're going to be flying, and how you can get involved. Alright, well I hope you've enjoyed watching and found this interesting, or at the very least useful. And a special thanks as always has to go out to our Crassuses, Brood from Northern Coalition, Zolka Lando and Jessica, as well as to our other $5 and above patrons in January Valentine, Big Bada Boom, Czar, Dunk Dinkle, Miss Moses, Kem, Ashfell Celestial Academy, Closer Canty, Crazy Daisy, Ulrich Bluthers, and Omniscious Shardan. If you want to join them in supporting the channel yourself, you can either check out the Patreon link in the description below, or if you'd like, just share the video with some other people who you think might enjoy it. Until next time, have a good day and fly smart.